Hi there, I'm Akina Dangme. Today I'd like to talk about one of the king of Israel by the name King Ish-Bosheth. King Ish-Bosheth is one of the obscure king of Israel, and he's the son of the first king of Israel, King Saul. Many people not interested to talk about him, or many people don't address about him much. There could be so many reasons why. And I think one of the reasons is because even the Bible don't record about him much, like we got to read about the king. And another reason could be that when we read the portion recorded about King Ish-Bosheth from 2 Samuel chapter 2 to chapter 4, we don't got to read things interesting about him. That could be also another reason. And I think the third reason could be that even during the reign of King Saul, King David became very popular among the people. And you see, during King Ish-Bosheth, King David is very popular. And the attention draws to King David and not to King Ish-Bosheth. That could be another reason, or there could be another reason why people don't talk about him. And I will suggest you to read by yourselves the portion of 2 Samuel chapter 2 to chapter 4 for you to know more about him. And this video is a short summary video presentation about the historical fact about King Ish-Bosheth. And I will try my best not to include more information, but I will try my best to be precise and present about King Ish-Bosheth, historical facts about King Ish-Bosheth. I'll be presenting in a 5 parts division. The first part will be about his reign as king, and the second part will be about the battling of his army and King David, and the third part will be Ish-Bosheth accusing Abner, and the third part will be King Ish-Bosheth giving Michal, the wife of David, for David again, and the last part will be his assassination by his 2 men. This will be the 5 part that we'll be talking, or I'll be sharing today. Let's see the first part, the reign of King Ish-Bosheth. After the death of the first king of Israel, King Saul, King Ish-Bosheth was anointed to be the king over all Israel. At the same time, King David was anointed over the house of Judah. That's what had happened. And the anointing of King Ish-Bosheth was spearheaded by the name called Abner. He is the commander of King Saul's army. He was taken to Mahanaim. King Ish-Bosheth was taken to Mahanaim, and he was anointed there. And King Ish-Bosheth, he was 40 years old when he was anointed, or when he started reigning as a king. And he don't reign for a longer period of time like his father. He reigned just for 2 years over the house of Israel. And then we, as I said before, the house of Judah followed after King David, and many or most of the house of Israel followed after King Ish-Bosheth as they were following King Saul. That is a thing that we can see from the first part. And the second part is about the battling between the army of Ish-Bosheth and army of David. From King Ish-Bosheth, Abner is the commander, and with his army, or with the servant of Ish-Bosheth, they went from Mahanaim to Gibeon. And from the side of King David, Joab, he is the commander, or he is the leading man for the army. And with his army, or with the servants of King David, they also went to Gibeon. They sat side by side, and then Abner proposed that they will have a fight between them. And one very funny and crazy thing that I got to read from the text is that from both sides, 12 people, or 12 army from each both side stand against themselves, and they pierce their sword into the side of the opponent, and they kill themselves. It's so crazy to read it. And that very place in Gibeon was called Helket Hazurim, might be because of what they're doing there. And that very day, the battle was so fierce, and Abner was defeated by Joab and his army. And on that very day, 360 men of Abner were struck down, and around 20 men of Joab were struck down that very day. That is one of the specific battle between the army of Ish-Bosheth and King David. But it is also recorded that there was a long or prolonged war between these two houses, and the house of David grew stronger and stronger, but the house of Saul grew weaker and weaker. That is short battle story between the house of Saul and house of David. See, even in the narration of battling or in the narration of battle, the text doesn't mention Ish-Bosheth very much. They mention his father named Saul. And the third part that I like to share is about Ish-Bosheth accusing Abner for going into one of the concubines of his father, King Saul. So during the time when the battle had been going on between the house of King David and King Saul, Abner was making himself strong in the house of King Saul. That is one fact that we can know about Abner. And there was a concubine, one of the concubine named known by Rizpah, and Ish-Bosheth accused Abner for going into her. And Abner became so furious, so angry, saying that despise my steadfast love for the house of King Saul and to his friends, and despise his refusal to give the house of Saul over to King David, he has been accused falsely concerning a woman. Because he becomes so angry and so furious for this false accusation against him, he sworn that day that he is going to give over the house of King Saul, or the kingdom of Israel, to David, and establish David throne over Israel and Judah. Now, King David could would encompass from the very border of Dan to Beersheba. That's what he sworn against Ish-Bosheth, and Ish-Bosheth was so fearful of Abner, because Abner is a strong guy, and Ish-Bosheth, it seems he's not so influential man, and he was just a puppet king, and the manpower is Abner in the house of Saul. That's what we can read from the text. And Abner sent a messenger, or Abner tried to make a covenant with King David, saying that I'm going to do this. And at the same time, King David said that you can't see me without bringing Michal, my wife. That I will suspend there. And the third part that we're going to see about Michal giving over to King David again. At the same time, King David sent a messenger to Ish-Bosheth asking back for his wife Michal, for whom he paid the bridal price. During the reign of King Saul, King David, he paid the bridal price for Michal, the daughter of King Saul. The bridal price that they paid was 100 foreskin of Palestine army. That is the bridal price that they pay for Michal. And immediately, or we can say immediately, that Ish-Bosheth sent for Michal from her husband. During that time, Michal was married to another guy called Baltiel. King Ish-Bosheth sent for her from her husband Baltiel, and the text doesn't mention very clearly about, but we can see by the flow of the story that King David got his wife Michal back. That is the story we can see. That is the part that we can talk about. And the end part is about his assassination. There is two sons of Rimmon who were Berothite. The two sons of Rimmon were Rechab and Baanah. These two sons, they went into the house of Ish-Bosheth in the daytime. And King Ish-Bosheth was taking his noontime rest. And these two guys, they went into the midst of the house of King Ish-Bosheth as if they're going to get some wheat or like that. And they went into the bedroom of King Ish-Bosheth as he was laying on his bed, and they stepped on his stomach, they struck him, and they killed him, and they beheaded King Ish-Bosheth. They escaped from the house. They took the head of King Ish-Bosheth. They went to Hebron. They met King David, and they handed over the head of King Ish-Bosheth. The prophet, we brought the head of King Ish-Bosheth, who seek your life, who is your enemy. But King David doesn't appreciate for what they did. They were doing a very bad thing in the sight of King David. That's what King assumed. That's what King David understand by their act. We say, you guys went to a house, to an innocent person's house. Well, even when he was sleeping, and you kill him. This is a very bad sin that you guys are doing. So he commanded his young men to kill these two guys. And King David, young man, educated them. They chopped these two young men's hand and feet off, and they were hanged beside pool at Hebron. That's what they did to these two men, Rechab and Baanah. And King David and his people, or his young men, buried the head of King Ish-Bosheth in the tomb of Abner at Hebron. This is a short story, or this is a short historical narration about King Ish-Bosheth from the very text of 2 Samuel chapter 2 to chapter 4. We don't get to know much about him. This is a short summary presentation of King Ish-Bosheth. He reigned for just 2 years, and then there was no much record about his doing for the kingdom or his battle with other people. And then he accused Abner for going into Rizpah, one of the concubines of King Saul. And then King David got his wife Michal back during his time, and he was assassinated by two men of himself. That's how he ended his reign as a king. This is a short presentation of King Ish-Bosheth. Thank you very much.